Hi and welcome back to yet another reading vlog. This will be a really exciting one because I will finally be reading the Powerless trilogy. As Fearless just came out, I'm getting a lot of FOMO and I already got the first two books at home and the little novella in between. I'm only missing Fearless. I got these off of Vinted for really cheap, but Fearless only came out in hardback. So I will be one of the people who will be waiting for the paperback to come out. If I am actually going to like the series, I'll probably get Fearless on my Kindle for until the paperback comes out. But it's also going to be really exciting for me because I've decided on annotating these books like properly. Normally when I annotate my books, it would only be with like colored tabs and I might write something with pencil in it to remember. But I've never actually used like markers and stuff inside of my books. But I think I'm finally ready and I'm going to cave and finally annotate my books real properly. I got myself some zebra mild liners, as I believe those are like the best highlighters for inside of books. And I already decided on the colors that I'm going to use. I got like a really pretty violet, like a cool gray tone and a green that matches the covers. And I also am going to use like the bottom three of these colors as tabs to like tab it in the same color as the pens. And I am so excited to start this journey, not only for the books, but also to like butcher my books for the first time. It's scary, but I got them for really cheap. So that was like the first thing to get me over the line to actually dare to annotate my books. But I'm really, really excited. So let's get into the actual reading. So I finished Powerless by Lauren Roberts and it has been a while. I've actually finished this book, I think 13 days ago already, and it took me quite some time to actually want to film this because I did not really enjoy this book. Also, I watched back my old footage and it is a coincidence that I'm wearing the same shirt. No, I have not been wearing the same shirt for 2 weeks straight. Let's get that out of the way. But Powerless, I ended up rating this 2 stars. And I really did enjoy my time with annotating this book. I really, really liked it. And I'm also maybe a little bit happy about this being my first annotated book because the annotations are not pretty. So I got like a chance to try it out and up my skills a little bit more. Let's keep it at that. So the story itself, in my opinion, was really, really fun. And even after 2 weeks, I am still thinking about this sometimes. And I am eager to know what will happen in the future. I think for me, it was mostly the writing, which made it a 2 stars. Because while reading it, I wasn't having the best time at all. I didn't want to pick it up as well because, I don't know, something in the way that she writes, I just couldn't stand. I think it's mostly also because, in my opinion, she's tried to write really poetic, like the things you read on the back of the book, but she did it throughout the whole story, and it kind of took me out of the story a lot of the times. And just some small things in the story as well, like the banter between the FMC and the MMC. It was just all banter, and I get it, we're trying to get like some kind of enemies to lovers vibe, but I think like the second time they saw each other, you could already tell that they actually were into each other, but they just kept on bantering because people like to read banter, but it didn't feel real in any way. So I don't know about that. I do like the romance between them, but more in my brain, I think, not in reading it. The fantasy and just the overall story were really fun, and that is why I gave it 2 stars. Though I usually don't rate something 2 stars when I have been thinking about DNFing it so much. I think still because the story is somehow still very compelling and I do want to read further, but I'm just not sure. But yeah, it was nice for me to be able to like try everything out. I'm not sure if you can see it that well, but I tried some different types of annotating because I did use markers, but I tried to do it with like, how do you call something like that? Like a ruler. I tried to use the ruler and you can see it over here. I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up really well, or else I'll just put a video on top of this with me showing it better. But I tried to use a ruler and I think that works better. It just was really hard at the beginning for me, especially at like parts here in the bottom. You can see I didn't do an amazing job, but I really like the aspect of I mean like basically coloring into my book. There were some times that I tried it without a ruler and I also like to do it, but it doesn't look great as well. So here's an example of this one. So I did really like the fact of me just being able to color in a book. That was really fun. And especially because I got this book secondhand, pretty cheap. I don't really mind like ruining the book or anything. But the fact that I didn't rate this very high, it is making me a little bit more mindful of annotating and really drawing into your book. Because I don't know, would have this been any other book I've rated 2 stars, I usually get rid of them, I sell them, and if I would have annotated these ones, I wouldn't have been able to sell them anymore. I usually don't like to keep the books at home that I don't really like, and I'm thinking on keeping this one just because it's a series which I might still continue. It has got me a little bit more mindful because yeah, I can't sell this one anymore. But overall, Powerless, yeah, I don't know. I think the writing just isn't for me. But I am thinking on still continuing this. And that's mostly because after reading Powerless, you read Powerful, the novella that comes in between. And this is, I think, just over 200 pages. I think, yeah, it's just over 200 pages. But it's like way bigger. The font is like way bigger than in Powerless. Let's see if you can. I think you can tell by just like this being the novella and this being Powerful. You can see that it's a bit bigger, the font. So I'm guessing I could rush through this in like 1 or 2 days. So I am still thinking on picking this up and giving the Powerless trilogy another go. But I've heard such bad reviews of Reckless, like the second real book in the trilogy, that I'm just not sure if it will be worth my time. But the novella, I think, is doable. If I really, really enjoy this novella, I'm thinking on reading further. But if I'm like, meh, I might end the video after reading this book, because I'm not going to push myself through reading something I just don't enjoy. So that's all for now. I'm not even sure if I'm going to pick this up right this moment, but we'll see, and you'll talk to me later. So I finished reading Powerful, and I'm quite surprised in how much I actually enjoyed this book. I read it in 1 sitting, or maybe 2, but at least I finished it in 1 day, and I ended up rating this 4 stars. I think for me mainly, I think I just found this book a little bit less irritating in writing style. It still wasn't really my favorite, but I wasn't getting that annoyed with the way she wrote this book, I guess, which made it way more enjoyable for me. Though I know you can tandem read Powerful while reading Powerless, I did not do that. So I did know kind of the ending of this book because it takes place around the same time as Powerless. But that did not take away any of the joy for me, I think. We were following... Why do I want to say Andarna? That's a freaking dare again. We were following Adena, which is Peyton's best friend. And we're following like her side of the story and her romance in the story. And I love the romance in this one. And I think mainly that also was my favorite part. Though I do have to say, like, the first half of the book, there didn't really happen anything that special for me. It was mostly the ending that really made this book pop for me. And I really enjoyed it. Though I did decide on not annotating this one purely because I didn't really like Powerless. And I didn't want to annotate another book, which I might not enjoy. And though I did, I'm okay with not annotating it. Though I have already decided that this will probably be the end of my Powerless trilogy reading vlog, because I don't think I will continue this series, even though I did enjoy this one. I've read a bit about what the next books will be about, and I have already seen a bit of the spoilers as well. Some bigger ones and some smaller ones, but small things like me knowing that the side characters in this book that I absolutely loved will get almost no spotlight in the next books is also withdrawing myself of reading any further. I think it's still mainly also writing style that's keeping me from reading any further, because it has already been like a month since I read Powerless, and I do still sometimes think about the story itself. And I think the story itself is good, but I just did not enjoy my time while reading it, purely because of the writing style, and I just don't want to do that to myself anymore. And I know the next book, Reckless, is a little bit shorter than Powerless, but I know the story will mainly just follow like the MMC and the FMC, and it's just a lot of banter and of course also building like the romance. But I did not enjoy the banter in Powerless at all, and it felt like a lot of repeat sentences, just saying the same things, and I don't want to put myself through that for a whole book. So, I don't know. It has already also been 2 weeks since I finished up this book, and I have exactly no desire to pick up Reckless, though I do already have it at home. I'm thinking on DNFing the series in its whole, but somehow I do feel intrigued enough to look up the spoilers for the story, and the small bits that I have seen already, they feel like really good plot points and things I would enjoy reading. But yeah, Powerless also felt like something I would enjoy reading, and I did not. And there are so many books that I would still like to get to. So I don't know why I would put myself through the misery of reading books I don't really like just to read them. So, video will probably end here. I might even still sell my copy of Reckless, maybe even Powerful, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I might pick them up like way in the future, but for now it's a definite DNF of the series altogether. But I did really enjoy my time with the annotating. I'm a little sad that I did not annotate this one because I did like this one, but also not that much, because looking back at the book, there wouldn't be that many stuff I would like to annotate itself. It would be mainly the ending that I really enjoyed. But I have picked up other books that I have annotated already, and that was really fun. Could have seen in Powerless that the annotating wasn't going amazing. It was looking kind of ugly, but it's getting better. I am using a ruler now with annotating my books, and it is really helping. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. But for this vlog, I think I'm going to have to say goodbye to this because I do not want to read further into this series, and it's getting me into a huge slump only thinking about having to pick more books up from this series. So I think that's a no from me. Though if there are people that have really amazing arguments about this series, you can always drop a comment down below and try to convince me to pick up Reckless. But for now, it will be goodbye for me. Thank you so much for watching up until this point. If you'd like to see more of me, don't forget to subscribe, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!